woke up from that dream. And he felt a lot better because there was something about the wisdom of what that fisherman told him. And then, of course, he had to deal with that coach who didn't seem to be much in shape. So, what he did, what do you think he did?
Went with the flow?
Well, he did, of course. You know, he learned that from the fisherman. But what do you think he asked that coach?
What wisdom he had to share?
Hmm?
What wisdom he had to share?
Well, yeah. And he also said, he told him the truth. He said, you don't look like you're in very good shape.
Huh?
What happened? You know, what's going on? You know, he asked him point blank. And he said, well, I broke my leg a few years ago and it never recovered. But before that, I was a really good running coach and I was a competitor. But since then, I started really studying techniques of running and swimming. And I can show you how to do those things. But I don't think I'm ever going to get back in the athletic shape I was in before. So my friend learned a pretty big lesson there. But anyway, it turned out to where he did pretty good in his competitions and was pretty happy. And yeah, he did learn to sort of go with things. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, anyway, that's what it reminded me of when you told me about your friend. Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you think?
You know, I know my friend has a military background. You know, when you go from military background to the private life, to a private job, not all of those skills translate directly. And if you don't know how to translate what you learned in the military to how to be a leader outside, it can be difficult. But maybe if he could have somebody help him crosswalk some of those skills, maybe he has more skills than I realize. He just hasn't figured out how to use them in the private sector yet. It's possible.
It is possible. That is possible. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so what we saw here, looked like a normal conversation. And Carrie was telling us about her friend or her new situation, how it made her sort of sad and disappointed. And then I referred to a client that I had in the past, and I talked about a dream. And you might remember, as soon as I issued the idea of a dream and that it was disturbing, the tone changed somewhat. And Carrie's attention got more focused, and you saw her face become more focused and more relaxed as we started talking about the dream. And as the dream went on, it moved the awareness on the inside. And of course, as we talked about the person in the dream swimming and going nowhere, you notice that I pointed my finger this way, and Carrie went like this. Now, this was all on an unconscious level, but it started happening if you watch the eyes, that Carrie started to identify and go into a very mild trance state because my voice tone lowered and my voice slowed down, and Carrie began to identify and associate with the swimmer going nowhere, and the perplexity of that. And then along came, we introduced the old man in the boat. And what happened there was it gave her some rest, and it gave the subject some rest and some nourishment, food. And that again is symbolic of receiving nourishment, and it could be on an intellectual level or a wisdom level, because it was an old man who had wisdom and knowledge of the sea, and he was friendly. So it became a peer or a mentor. So she found a resource in the dream, which is on the inside, of a mentor of wisdom who could give guidance in a situation. Now at this time, you notice that Carrie didn't have anything to say, but her head began to nod, and her eyes were very fixated and absorbed on mine and what I was saying. At that point, she was even deeper into the trance and associating with the mentor, getting nourishment and getting wisdom of going with the flow of the different types of water, all being a metaphor for perhaps something that she could use in her life. And in this particular case, the idea that this person comes along and he's not qualified. And of course that might have associated with the coach who was out of shape and the same dilemma. So it was an obvious association there, but on the unconscious level, her critical factor, the concern that she had, was dropped because she was absorbed in the ideas, and as a result, we bypassed the critical factor and were able to offer suggestions in a very meaningful way that could be associated to the issues she was dealing with at that point. Although it appeared that I was just talking about a dream that a client had, and maybe there was a metaphor, maybe not. But what was important is that her attention was absorbed, the critical factor was bypassed, and she was accepting the suggestions, she noticed the nods, and associating with it, as I occasionally would point to her when I was talking about him. So then we finalized it up, came back into the regular beta consciousness, said, what do you think? She began to incorporate the ideas and associate it with her current issue, and most probably this resource will strengthen her and turn a situation which possibly would have troubled her and caused some discomfort emotionally, where she could associate that perhaps there's a reason why this individual doesn't have this training, or perhaps there's something that she didn't understand of why this person's there, and also how to deal with currents or events or winds or waves that she could run into by adapting. And all of these resources are laid in on an unconscious level through the metaphor, the little story, the dream which she allowed in. Okay, I hope this helps. A very brief demonstration, and we'll do others in the future. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.